The moment you become too available, you become disposable. Most men don't realize this until it's too late, until the messages stop coming. The respect fades, and the room they once dominated grows quiet. The tragedy isn't that they lacked value. It's that they gave it away too cheaply. Machiavelli understood something most men today have forgotten. The more accessible you are, the less power you hold. He watched rulers, generals, and thinkers rise and fall, and he noticed a pattern. The ones who were always present, always eager to please, were the first to be forgotten. But those who learned to control access to themselves, those who cultivated scarcity, became legends. This isn't about arrogance. It's about strategy. You can't be valuable if you're everywhere, explaining yourself, chasing approval. Real power begins the moment you stop offering yourself to those who haven't earned it. In this video, we'll uncover Machiavelli's darkest psychological trick, one that flips the entire game. The trick that makes you dangerously valuable in every arena: relationships, business, and life itself. Because when the world realizes it can't fully have you, it starts to fear losing you. From the moment we're boys, we're told the same lie, that being helpful, kind, and always available makes us valuable. Society rewards obedience, praises selflessness, and glorifies the man who shows up no matter what. But here's the hidden cost. When your value depends on how much you give, you'll always be chasing approval. Think about the modern man's trap. He's the one who replies instantly, always says yes, and never asks for anything in return. He's the dependable worker who never takes credit. The friend who always listens, but is never listened to. The boyfriend who gives everything, thinking love will be his reward. But instead of admiration, he gets apathy. Instead of loyalty, he gets neglect. Why? Because the world doesn't value what's abundant. It values what's scarce. The more accessible you are, the less mystery you carry. The more you explain yourself, the less others need to understand you. In a world drowning in availability, mystery becomes power. Machiavelli would call it the illusion of value, the false belief that effort equals importance. But effort alone doesn't command respect. Leverage does. When you constantly try to prove your worth, you signal that you have none. The illusion keeps most men trapped in servitude, mistaking attention for validation and busyness for progress. They can't see that by being everywhere. They've become invisible. The truth is simple and brutal. A man who's always available is never desired. And the man who learns to withdraw strategically, to control when and how he engages, immediately shifts how others perceive him. Because in the economy of power, value isn't created by addition, it's created by restriction. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago, and his observation changed everything. Centuries ago, Niccolò Machiavelli watched men in power destroy themselves, not because they were weak, but because they were too visible. In his world, kings, generals, and noblemen all fought for influence, but only a few understood that perception was stronger than the sword. Machiavelli realized something chilling. People respect distance more than devotion. In The Prince, he wrote that men in general judge more by the eye than by the hand. In other words, people believe what they perceive, not what they're told. Power, then, wasn't about effort or goodness. It was about the illusion of control. The ruler who appeared scarce, composed, and unpredictable seemed invincible. The one who was too accessible, too emotional, or too eager to please quickly lost authority. This observation wasn't confined to royalty. It was human nature. The merchant who haggled too long lost credibility. The friend who tried too hard was forgotten. Even the lover who confessed too much lost their allure. Machiavelli saw that distance creates desire. Scarcity breeds significance. And control, especially over your own presence, forces others to assign higher value to you. Now imagine this principle in today's world. Most men broadcast their lives online, overshare their emotions, and offer their time to anyone who asks. They think transparency builds trust, but in truth, it erodes mystery. Machiavelli would say they've handed away the one thing that made them powerful. The uncertainty of who they truly are got to be respected. You must be seen selectively. To be valued, you must master the art of controlled exposure. People must sense that there is more to you than they can access. Machiavelli didn't teach manipulation. He taught perception. He understood that when others can't predict you, they can't control you. And when they can't control you, they must respect you. That's the foundation of his darkest trick-ability, strategy that makes a man dangerously valuable without saying a single word. And that trick is what we'll now uncover. Machiavelli's darkest trick is simple, yet most men will never master it. It's the ability to control perception through strategic scarcity and selective engagement. He understood that human desire feeds on limitation. The moment something becomes common, it loses its worth. Power, influence, even love, all obey this same brutal law. When people can't easily access you, they begin to assign greater importance to your presence. And when they must work for your approval, they value it tenfold. Machiavelli observed rulers who never revealed their full intentions. They spoke less than they knew. They gave less than they could. And that silence, that deliberate withholding, created an aura of control that no speech could replicate. When a man doesn't reveal everything, people fill the silence with their own imagination. And imagination is always more powerful than reality. Think of the opposite, the man who explains himself constantly, who tries to be understood, who seeks to be liked. His openness feels harmless at first, but soon he becomes predictable. Predictability kills intrigue. When people can map your every move, they stop fearing the consequences of losing you. The Machiavellian trick is to manage presence like currency. You appear just enough to remind them of your worth, then withdraw before they grow used to you. It's the art of restraint, not absence. Like the king who makes rare appearances, or the man who says little but commands the room when he speaks. There's a reason the mysterious man draws curiosity while the overexposed one repels it. Mystery signals control. Control signals power. Power makes you valuable. This is why the most magnetic people, from leaders to artists to lovers, guard their availability with precision. They don't rush to answer every message. Don't overshare emotions. Don't chase attention. They understand that attention given freely is power wasted. Machiavelli's darkest trick teaches that dominance is not about aggression. It's about restraint. To hold something back is to create space for others to want. The space itself becomes tension, and tension is the fuel of desire, respect, and influence. So when a man learns to be calm when others seek his reaction, silent when others demand explanation, scarce when others overextend, he becomes dangerously valuable, because people can only control what they fully understand. And once they can't predict you, they can't own you. So how do you use this trick today in a world that demands constant exposure? Machiavelli's trick wasn't meant only for princes. It was designed for any man navigating power, attention, and influence. In the modern world, this principle is more vital than ever, because today's culture is built on overexposure. Everyone is shouting, sharing, explaining, performing. The man who learns to stay silent when others overshare becomes magnetic. In dating, most men chase. They flood her phone, over-communicate, and make themselves emotionally available before she's earned it. What they don't realize is that constant availability kills attraction. Scarcity builds anticipation. Mystery builds desire. When a man doesn't rush to respond, doesn't explain every move, he sends a signal of quiet power. My time is valuable. The world interprets that as confidence. Even superiority. In business, the same truth applies. The worker who says yes to everything becomes invisible. The one who says no with purpose becomes respected. Strategic detachment isn't laziness, it's leverage. When people must earn your time, they treat it as currency. When you give it freely, they spend it carelessly. Machiavelli would say, "Make your presence felt, then retreat before it loses weight. In social life, learn to hold silence." Most conversations are battles for validation. The man who listens, who pauses before he speaks, commands the rhythm of the room. The louder others talk, the more powerful his quiet becomes. Scarcity, applied deliberately, shifts how others perceive you. When you reduce access, attention rises. When you slow your reactions, influence deepens. It's not about manipulation, it's about alignment. You are showing the world that your time, your energy, and your focus are not free commodities. In a world addicted to visibility, mystery has become the ultimate luxury. And the man who controls how much of himself he reveals controls how the world treats him. But most men can't hold this power for long. And that's where they fall into the trap. Most men know they're being undervalued, yet they keep feeding the very system that drains their worth. They think that by being available, by proving their loyalty, they'll finally earn respect. But what they don't see is that neediness always destroys perception. This is the trap Machiavelli warned of, the cycle of seeking validation. A man gives more attention than is earned, hoping it will be returned. He over-explains when misunderstood, trying to fix how others see him. He overcompensates with effort, believing that constant giving will make him irreplaceable. But the opposite happens. The more predictable he becomes, the less power he holds. It's the same pattern in relationships, friendships, even careers. The man who's always available becomes a background character in his own story. The boss knows he'll always say yes. The woman knows he'll always wait. His friends know he'll always be there. He mistakes being needed for being valued. And that confusion keeps him weak. This trap is built on fear. Fear of rejection, fear of loss, fear of being forgotten. But Machiavelli would remind us, fear is the leash by which others control you. The moment you act from fear, you give others the power to decide your worth. The tragedy is that most men don't even realize it's happening. They call it kindness. They call it commitment. But beneath those words lies insecurity, the constant hunger to be chosen. Here's the truth. Value can't be negotiated. It's projected. You teach others how to treat you through what you tolerate, what you chase, and what you withhold. The man who refuses to chase validation breaks the illusion. He reclaims the one resource others have been exploiting, his attention. But breaking free from the trap requires more than awareness. It demands discipline, detachment, and a total rewiring of how you view yourself. Because to become dangerously valuable, you must stop playing for approval and start playing for power. So how does a man transform himself into that kind of force, calm, rare, untouchable? Becoming dangerously valuable isn't about pretending to be mysterious or playing games. It's about transforming the way you see yourself, from someone who seeks validation to someone who commands it. Machiavelli's principle wasn't a performance. It was a mindset. The mindset of a man who understands that power comes from control, not exposure. The first step is discipline. You must learn to control your instincts, the impulse to explain, to justify, to prove. Every time you rush to defend yourself, you hand over power. The disciplined man learns to let silence speak for him. He knows that people fill silence with imagination, and imagination always works in favor of the one who controls it. Speak less, act deliberately, and allow others to wonder what you're thinking. Curiosity is leverage. The second step is strategic withdrawal. Machiavelli advised rulers to retreat at the height of their popularity. Why? Because absence makes others crave your return. Most men overstay their welcome. They give too much presence, too many words, too much energy. But the powerful man knows when to vanish. He leaves when his presence still lingers. That's how legends are built, not by endless exposure, but by timing. The third step is emotional detachment. This doesn't mean coldness. It means independence. The moment your mood depends on someone else's reaction, you've lost sovereignty. Machiavelli wrote that the prince must be the master of fortune, not her servant. Likewise, the modern man must be the master of his emotions, not a puppet to approval or rejection. Detachment allows you to stay calm in chaos, to hold frame when others break. That calmness radiates power. When you combine these three, discipline, withdrawal, and detachment, you stop chasing value and start becoming it. You become the man whose time feels rare, whose approval feels earned, whose attention feels like a prize. And here's the paradox. When you stop needing others, they start needing you. This is the psychological gravity of true value. People sense when they can't control you, and instinctively, they respect you. They chase your presence, your attention, your understanding, not because you demanded it, but because you withheld it until it mattered. To be dangerously valuable is to live by a code most men can't follow. Speak less than you know. Give less than you can. Leave before you're forgotten. Value yourself so deeply that others must rise to meet you, because power isn't loud. It's quiet, measured, and deliberate. And when a man walks with that kind of stillness, the world feels it. And that's the truth most men will never hear. But if you have, your transformation has already begun. Most men spend their lives trying to be chosen by women, by bosses, by friends. But the truth Machiavelli left behind is brutal. The man who tries to be chosen never becomes powerful. Power belongs to the man who chooses himself first. You've seen it throughout history. The rulers, thinkers, and warriors who moved with calm indifference. They never begged for validation. They understood the law of perception. When you act like your value is conditional, the world treats it that way. But when you move with self-contained certainty, people feel it, and they adjust. To become dangerously valuable, you must start now. Pull your attention back from where it's been scattered. Stop explaining yourself to those who misunderstand you. Stop chasing recognition from those who've already shown they don't value it. Every time you withhold, every time you pause before you speak, every time you walk away when you're expected to stay, you're teaching the world to measure your worth by your scarcity. And remember, most men will never do this. They'll keep giving, keep chasing, keep wondering why they're invisible. But not you. You've seen the trick, the law that makes kings out of ordinary men. So become rare. Become calm. And let the world feel the absence of your attention, like the silence after thunder, because you don't chase value. You become it.